All right, y'all. So some of the Democrats who are looking forward to this fight with the Republicans over the government shutdown, AOC, of course, and Bernie Sanders. So AOC went on Chris Hayes' show the other night, and she laid this out. Let's take a listen.
There is, over the last week, it seems a lot of people, and I include myself among them, feel like a sort of rising sense of alarm about the aggressiveness of the sort of authoritarian aspirations of this government, essentially firing a U.S. attorney to replace him with a patsy who will indict a political enemy. The continued threat of using the military on American citizens, the ordering the troops to Portland and then backing up because it was 5-year-old B-roll. I don't know. Do you feel the same way over this last week or two? Does it feel like continuity to you? Are there conversations in your caucus about what this last week has meant?
I think there's two things that are happening at once, and this is something that's very important for people to understand. One, there absolutely is an unprecedented abuse of power, destruction of norms, erosion of our government and our democracy in order to prop up an authoritarian style of governance. That is happening. However, they are weaker than they look. And it is important that we remember that, because what they rely on is the impression of power, the perception of inevitability, in us giving up in advance.
That's a great point. And I got to be honest, that didn't even really occur to me. But yeah, they're largely bluffing their way through it. And the more they bluff their way through it and they realize, oh, we can get away with it, then they get emboldened, right? And I mean, Trump literally said something to that effect the other day. He basically admitted, giving the speech to the generals, like, yeah, I was expecting some big pushback, and I got nothing, bro. They gave up. They're not even fighting. Well, that's humiliating for Democrats, but it shows, like, he's looking for resistance, and when there's enough resistance, he will back down. And that's what AOC is laying out here. Like, don't let them get away with, oh, it's inevitable. No, you need to come in like a fucking bat out of hell, laying out in no uncertain terms what the stakes are and what they're doing.
Oh, what's going to happen if I stand up, etc. Nothing's going to happen. They rely on that perception of inevitability and power so that people comply in advance and acquiesce in advance and give up in advance. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is at record levels of unpopularity in his tenure.
True.
The Republican House is at record levels of unpopularity. They are underwater across the board, and they know it. And that is causing them to double down in public, but it is backfiring. That is why, whether it's a shutdown, whether it's all of this, they want us to blink first. And we have too much to save. Protecting people is too important a task for us to give up before anything even starts. So they may want to send people in, but these National Guardsmen do not want to be turned against their fellow Americans. We're seeing this here in Washington, D.C. It is an insult. Donald Trump is insulting the service members of this country by putting them on these silly tasks that they themselves do not want to be enforcing. And so we have to understand that standing up matters, that our voice matters, to not give in to this cynicism, because that is what they rely on in order to perpetuate this idea that they are that they have total immunity from consequence. They will experience the consequences of this, but we have to be the consequence, which is why we have to stand tall right now, alongside everyday Americans who want us to be standing up right now as well.
They will experience consequences, but we have to be the consequences. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You got to make them feel what they're doing is completely and utterly unacceptable. You have to make them feel that. All right, she's not done. So she continues, same interview here with Chris Hayes. Here's what she says.
And the way that we honor our fight for health care and to define and to also protect everyday Americans' ability to afford their health care, to cover their kids, to defend Medicaid, those are the same mechanisms that we use to defend our rule of law, to defend the federal workers that we are trying to protect in this shutdown. You know, Donald Trump is trying to play this bluffing game of, well, maybe what we're going to do is hold all the federal workforce hostage and fire everybody. Donald Trump has been firing everybody. We saw this with DOJ. We've seen this at the State Department. We've seen this at the Department of Justice. They are firing everybody. They are completely eliminating the federal workforce. And in order for us to stop this madness, we have to put a stop to it. And we have to stop enabling their abuse of power, including their use of rescissions. And when we're fighting on their health care, it forces them to act in ways in accordance with the law in other ways, too.
Yeah, that's the point we were making before, that they already did this shit with DOJ. It was just wildly illegal, but they still did it and largely got away with it and then retroactively approved all the cuts. And so now they're going to do DOJ 2.0 from Russell Vought, and they're going to do it in a semi-legal way because there's the shutdown happening at the time. But you need to make sure you let the country know this is them. They own it. They are doing it. We wanted to keep the government open. We were just saying, hey, make sure healthcare prices don't go up. They objected to that. They want the healthcare prices to go up. So they need to own every part of this. But they did it before. They were going to do it again. Now's when they're doing it again. And as they destroy everything, you need to pin that on them. They are doing this. It is them. They are doing this. They are guilty. They are the reasons your health insurance premiums are skyrocketing. They are the reason your electricity bill is fucking skyrocketing. No matter what the problem is that you want to talk about, it's on them. It's always been on them. All right, we're not done. She continues here.
And I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly. Because what I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance. That's what's not going to happen. And so if those senators think that we're having a shutdown because of me, they're free to enter my office and negotiate, because what we're not going to do is allow all of millions of people in this country to not be able to afford their insulin and their chemotherapy. So come strike a deal with me if that's what they really think is going on.
That's exactly right. And they know they're lying. They know they're lying. When it's AOC shutdown. They know they're fucking full of shit. Here's Bernie Sanders. Here's Bernie talking about the demands. Watch this.
What these guys have said, it's my way or the highway. This is the way it's going to be. And that is kind of what Trumpism is about. That's that authoritarian tendency that we're seeing in America right now.
So are you telling me you're willing to vote no every time Leader Thurman brings this up?
I am not going to allow. Let me be clear. All right, you can quote me on this. You can quote me on this. We say in Vermont, till the cows come home. I will not let tens of thousands of fellow Americans die because they're thrown off of healthcare. In my state, people cannot afford a doubling in the healthcare premiums. We are already paying the highest prices in the country for healthcare. People just can't afford it. And what the Republicans have got to do is go into their hearts and go back into their constituents. Ask their constituents in Louisiana, where Johnson is from. Do you think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to people like Bezos and Musk and Zuckerberg, the richest people in this country, in order to throw people off the health care they have? I think the answer will be a resounding no. So I hope the Republicans develop a sense of morality, listen to the people of America, and do the right thing.
That says it all. They did the cuts before. They were going to do the cuts again no matter what. You need to pin it on them. All the hurt, all the damage, all the pain. And they're fighting for something to try to soften the blow to the American people. But Trump is not. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. It really is. We really are in a situation where this is like you're trying to negotiate with a terrorist. Because deep down, he wants the shutdown because they want to do more illegal cuts. But then those illegal cuts are going to lead to more pain in the country. And that means Trump's approval rating is going to go from 37% down to like 33%. But that is all as AOC said, we have to be the consequence. He can't keep doing shit and having radio silence on the Democratic side, pointing out the reality of the situation. Every single American should understand, should know very clearly, when they passed that big bullshit bill, what was the result? It added $4 trillion to the debt and the deficit. It cut taxes on the rich and raised taxes for the working class. It cut Medicaid, $800 billion worth. It kicked 17 million people off their health care. It raised out-of-pocket costs. It reduced coverage for poor people and disabled people. He cut 3 million people off of food stamps, the SNAP program. He cut free lunch in schools. He kicked millions off of Obamacare subsidies. They cut Medicare in that bill. It killed the wind projects and the solar projects, which killed hundreds of thousands of jobs. This is what happened. Every American should know all of these things that I'm talking about. They should all know that Trump and Elon cut Meals on Wheels and pediatric cancer research. At the same time, this motherfucker is putting gold up in the Oval Office and bragging about it. He cut pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels. People do not know that through osmosis. They will learn that when you tell them that. You need to tank their popularity so fucking hard that there's bodies in the streets and they're holding fucking pitchforks. That's what you need to do. People need to rise up in this country and get out there and peacefully protest and fucking have bodies in the streets and scare the shit out of them when they look out the White House window and see 1 million fucking people out there. That's the only way we fight back. That's the only way we win. But they're gonna raise hell. They're gonna do all these horrible things, and they have to meet it with resistance. And the fact of the matter is, they need you. The Republic, in order to reopen the government, they need you. There's no way around it, because they need to get to 60 votes. They need you. So they need 7 of you. So you got to buy the balls in this instance. Now, it's very likely they might make a deal and say, oh, we'll give you the thing you want or whatever, and then they just don't fucking fund it because that's what they do. They're liars. They're cheaters. Like I said, it's like negotiating with terrorists. But you need to be on the record. You need to be clear. We are fighting for the American people. We are fighting for lower healthcare costs for you. We are fighting to protect your job. And they are blocking it. This is the Trump shutdown. That's what it is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.